11:35 a.m. and this is relevant to the diagnosis because the conviction of the entity has already been accomplished. It's already been completed. This is documentation and evidence and a criminal prosecution and also information for the world regarding the times that we are in, and it is for your information as you witness necessarily the wicked, the corrupt serve the consequences for the things that they have done, and it includes what is addressing severe mental instability. Mental instability that is identified in the environment that is supernatural, and it is the direct indicator to the severe instability that is closeted amongst the population. If you recall yesterday at 11:35 a.m., I remain at the Ovid Family Community Library, which is the image that you'll see at the top. And it's also relevant that you're looking at the City of Ontario vehicle. You're looking at light activity that's being caused by use of that vehicle. And you're also looking at the Ontario City Hall, and you're looking at the sun. You're looking at the sun that's directly over me at that location. At the bottom is where you're looking at my current location in the city of UPLAND, inside of a building, not outside, and at the top of the building, through a window that is, conveniently, perfectly. It is wonderful that the building is constructed in the way that it is. You are looking at what is impossible to be the case at the same time, 24 hours apart in two different cities over the same person. Okay? And this is the evidence of targeting by a government that is acting in concert with an entity, not individuals. Okay? Now, as I prosecute the city of Ontario and the city of Upland, it is the prosecution of the entire state of California. At no place and at no time will the natural environment in any city, county, throughout the state, or in the country for that matter, result in what is the one sun, the exclusive gaseous ball of fire, maintain what is this exclusive sky space at the same time as I'm using 11:30 a.m. I'm using 11:30 a.m. as the example as I go through what I documented yesterday, and the entity that is exposing its severe mental instability by laughing hysterically while they are monitoring the evidence, which is also the evidence of severe obsession, delusion, and also defiance with regard to ceasing to engage in lawlessness, where the entity is acting in furtherance of murdering an American citizen, that it is indeed stalking as a matter of science. As I am in Ontario yesterday, the gang violence that I documented is the same gang violence that is underway today. The entity engaging in what is exhibiting to the world, and that is for your benefit, severe mental instability, while the criminal pattern of conduct, which is demonic, and the demonic features of the pattern of conduct is relevant to what is used to diagnose, assess, identify, even study what is mental illness that is psychopathic in nature. And it is also that which compels actually violent actions against other people, while the demon-possessed are engaged in what is criminal surveillance. This is the entity that was hysterically laughing as I captured it on podcast. They are engaging in the pattern of conduct literally through the laughter, and this is also the severe psychopathic disorder, the tactic of the criminals that are engaging in surveillance, while they are seeking to conduct themselves even by the delusional conduct of hysterical laughter, while they are engaging in harming another intentionally and knowingly in that environment. All right, this is the entity that is under the fake sun, engaging in that gang stalking pattern of conduct, and it is as maniacal as stalking in the path and engaging in that conduct in that environment where you are. Again, this is based on an assumption, a minor child that is turning backwards to focus on me when I am merely in custody of a phone, and this is necessarily assuming that the phone is fixated on you, that anything that I'm doing has anything to do with you. These are those that are mentally ill under the age of majority, where the demon-possessed give birth to those that are engaging in the same monitoring conduct. This is an entity that's doing so under the fake sun, and that's how you are aware, in addition to the behavior of those that are severely mentally unstable. And that instability is not a personal matter. It's not a private matter protected by HIPAA that is serving an illusion regarding surveillance that HIPAA is engaged in. It is a matter of national security while the entity is maintaining this surveillance system. And while the entity is going out of its way to exhibit this, it is counter to the intended result. It is the evidence that's going to be used to have the entity involuntarily committed. All right, this is the state of affairs as I'm documenting the entity harassing, threatening, acting and exercising what is the access that they have as city employees, accessing closed down features, the cafe that was closed. The entity that's maintaining presence over here is doing so under the fake sun, gang stalking, using the vehicle of the city of Ontario, gang stalking, wearing uniforms on the job, gang stalking under that fake sun. All right, and access is distinct from what is lawful, and the entity will be prosecuted for abusing positions in furtherance of murder, gang stalking an American citizen as I'm documenting that. And the entity that is doing so in that environment where that is maintaining that criminal surveillance system. And I am starting this video with regard to your ability to see the specific environment that is maintained over me while that entity is indeed gang stalking. This is the fake sun that is over the window, and that's why I started this video at 11:35 a.m. The entity that's engaged in monitoring, this is psychopathic pacing under a fake sun. That's in Ontario yesterday. All right, so the entity is maintaining engineer light all over the building. Everyone in the building is pacing. The staircase is a means of maintaining surveillance inside of the building for the purposes of gang stalking. And as you're aware, the light activity remains for the duration of the day as well. As you're reminded about what the entity is doing in a whole other city, which is above, in the city of Ontario, the Ontario Civic Center, where I am yesterday, and the entity maintains a whole other type of universe, okay? Because the two are not mutually occurring. It is impossible with regard to the natural environment. The entity is engaging in things such as keeping the fake sun inside of the Upland Public Library, as I documented May 13th at 5:23 p.m. This is the same library I'm inside of right now, capturing the fake sun at 11:07 a.m. With this evidence, it is impossible that the sun is ever going to be over the Ontario Civic Center, over the Ontario Senior Center, over anywhere in Ontario, by virtue of the evidence documenting the exclusivity of the light source itself and the maintenance, the duration of time of that exclusive light source remaining over one building, over one person in one building. That is speaking to the obsession that's the mentally ill who are demon possessed, who are gang stalking. And the entity has engaged in what is sloppily, openly stalking in the manner that you're witnessing with regard to the criminal summoning, with regard to the stalking by planes and helicopters, with regard to the stalking with impossible light, with regard to the ongoing surveillance in bathrooms, while the entity is hostile and commit sex acts. Committed as an entity, they are engaging in ongoing criminal sex acts together while they are hostile as they are exposed, engaged in gang stalking. This is all evidence that's going to be used to have the entity involuntarily committed. As the entity is maintaining the fake sun in an entirely different city, as I documented and maintained my podcast and video documentation, and then my traveling from Ontario to Upland, you are aware of the ability to identify malice, the ability to identify the entity, and what is psychopathic pacing, because that's everything that's happening inside of the Upland Public Library. Pacing with regard to what is my movements, what it is that I am doing physically, what I'm doing on my devices, what it is that I am capturing and uploading in real time is what is causing literally the ongoing physical activity creation methods by the demon possessed who are gang stalking. You pay attention to all the details. This is impossible light while the fake sun is in Ontario, California. It's also impossible light because the fake sun remains over the Upland Public Library until the end of the day. This is a crime scene, and it is a crime scene that's exposing federal stalking on the venue of the internet, and it is a crime scene that's exposing mental illness, psychopathic, maniacal, pacing conduct, pacing all around on behalf of the entity that is acting with the U.S. military, maintaining surveillance to the fire department, the police department, the gang stalking ambulance services, AMR, that are engaged in nothing other than surveillance. That's the purpose of those departments, to maintain surveillance. And they are doing so in concert with the people inside of a venue that is a means of surveillance, which is the Upland Public Library, that shall be defunded. Okay, this is P.O.C. And the entity that is maintaining the fake sun in Ontario is engaged in a documented grand departure And the fake sun, the environment, is the entity's criminal pattern of conduct. Okay? So the pattern of conduct, understand that term of art. The pattern of conduct is not only what they are doing, it is what they are doing in that environment that defies nature, which is intentional, and it is directly tailored to the entity that is engaged in criminal activity. Their pattern of conduct includes the fake sun, the engineer light, and it is exposing their mental illness and the public corruption. This is prosecuting the mayor, it's prosecuting the police department, the county sheriff, it's prosecuting the courthouses, it's prosecuting the population. This is P.O.C. It's currently 11:47 a.m.